Everybody, Elisa here with another Vera Bradley bag of the day. Um, Before took that little break from making videos, I used to try on Thursdays to do a video that I would call a Throwback Thursday video and use that as an opportunity to show something more vintage. And so that's why I thought I would make another video today um, to showcase a bag that I just love and hadn't talked about yet and spent a while getting. But also, it works out nicely because this pattern is Blue Rhapsody. And I realized last night that Pantone released its 2020 color of the year, which is they're calling Classic Blue. And of course, it has a Pantone number. I just have to, before I get into everything, I gotta laugh a little bit because Pantone kind of makes me smile because of my art background, I think, and um, my background, my family background in graphic arts, or both my parents were graphic artists. And like I said in another video, recently my dad was an art director as well, and they were both fine artists. And I went to various art schools and classes, and um, and I worked in publishing, not as a designer, but I was working closely with designers, and they were, oh, they were always, when they gave you a design of something, you would want a Pantone swatch with the colors that they were using for like the type or whatever to go onto the printer. And the designers were always so resistant in giving a Pantone swatch, and you always used to have to pull it out of them. Can I get a Pantone swatch? They were so protective of their Pantone swatches because I guess when you get a Pantone swatch book, you only get a certain amount of swatches of each color, and I would imagine they're fairly expensive, those books anyway. And so the designers are always so resistant to giving Pantone swatches. Like if they could get away with not giving you a Pantone swatch, they would. You designers, you old school designers know what I'm talking about. I don't know, everything's digital now, but back in the day when they had, mechanicals on boards, so I'm dating myself a little bit. You designers from back in the day know what I'm talking about. So I always think of that when anyone talks about Pantone colors and Pantone color of the year. But anyway, they've decided their color is classic blue, which is not, doesn't, I don't think matches exactly any of the colors in Blue Rhapsody, but there she goes. But I just thought I'd use it as an opportunity to talk about something blue and mention that color of the year. So this bag style is the Morgan, which I fell in love with a long time ago, and I do have a few videos already on this bag. I have a playlist for the Morgan, so you can find them there. And I think my first video was, a while ago now, and my first pattern that I got the Morgan in, I think, was Yellowbird, which I would say is like a Yellowbird maybe, and Blue Rhapsody are sort of tied as maybe my favorite, certainly my favorite vintage patterns. When I use the term vintage, I'm thinking of bags that make use of the coordinating trim. Now, I know that they're bringing that back in some of the current styles, so I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about back in the day when they were originally using the coordinating trim on everything. Those bags to me are, if it's got the coordinating trim, it seems vintage to me, and so that's how I'm using that term. So this would be a vintage bag. It makes use of this great wide band up top of the coordinating trim. And this is fall 2009 Blue Rhapsody. And so when I realized I really liked this bag style and that it came in a Morgan, came in Blue Rhapsody, I knew I was going to want to get that combo. But I also had parts of the pattern that I preferred, and I knew I was going to want that pattern placement, a good pattern placement with those elements. And so I figured it was going to take me a while, and I said, okay, I'm just going to have to be patient about it. And I wanted it, in very good condition. And so I passed by a lot of Blue Rhapsody Morgan bags, just waiting. And finally found this one. The light is, as usual, a little odd here because it got cloudy. So it's coming in a little, the light is blue, and for some odd reason it's almost giving this a slightly greener cast than it has. But this was the part, this flower and this flower, actually when I hold it closer, the colors get a little bit more accurate. Those were the parts of the pattern that I really liked. That something about that aqua blue, like the ocean, Caribbean Ocean. So I knew I was going to want it placed in an area where it didn't get lost in the folds, because this bag it makes use of pleats and folds to give it its blousey look. It definitely has a look sort of like a bowling ball, I always say. It's sort of this combination, I feel like, of structure and non-structure, because this band across the top has something in it sort of giving it some stiffness, and the bag has a sort of a small oval base, and I think, that in combination with the curve cut of the fabric and the difference in width between that oval base and the top was creating that kind of gathered look. And so it's overall like a slouchy look, but there's some structure to get that. And so I had seen a number of bags where this particular flower was falling right in this center fold. There's a center sort of like reverse pleat there, and there's like a pin tuck fold there, and another one over here that's creating that blousey look. And I didn't, I wasn't crazy about that because I was losing this in that fold, or sometimes this was just not, sort of very off to the side and cut off. You weren't getting the full flower. And so when I saw this, I was very excited, and then I looked at the back. She had a shot of the back of the bag as well, as every good Vera reseller should. And I saw this one here, also pretty well positioned in relation to the folds. So I said, okay, well, that's it. I mean, this was a really great price, and it was new without tags, and it was crisp. I mean, the fabric is crisp. I think it was $28 or something. I mean, so a really great price. She was having some kind of Thanksgiving sale where she had knocked all her prices down a bit. On the back, the pleats, just to point out, they're just slightly different. There's still that one big one in the center, surrounded by the two on the side, the two folds on the side, but then there's an outer pair of folds as well. Those aren't on the front because you get the slip pockets there in the front. So it has these two slip pockets that are sort of cut on an angle. They do go all the way down to the bag, to the bottom of the bag. So technically this would be the front of the bag, but they almost, because of the pattern, they're almost camouflaged. You almost don't see them, so not too concerned with front or back. So this is, if you've watched a lot of my recent videos, I talk about huge totes, and I do normally like a big bag. And this is much smaller, so I will put it on before I get into what's in it, what I can get in it. But I do feel like I have to be a little bit more thoughtful about what I'm going to be carrying, what I need to carry versus what I don't need to carry, because you can't get quite as much in here. Like, I obviously can't get a sweatshirt in here like I was talking in my previous video. I like to throw a sweatshirt or even like a big scarf or shawl, and because I knit a lot of shawls for myself, so it's nice to be able to throw those in there. I probably couldn't do that here. I'll just put it on real quick so people can see. And I always say I'm 5'4" and about 130. I haven't gotten on the scale in a while. I've been avoiding the scale. The light's a little weird. Let's see if I can get a little bit better. Right, so blowing out, that's not bad. So you can see it's a shorter strap drop. I will measure it, but I think it's about 9 or 10 inches. So it's a nice, I like the short strap drop. Makes me feel like it's secure under my arm. The bag is secure under my arm. And it sits up nice in the curve of your body, at least for me. It sits nicely right where my waist curves. So it's comfortable. It feels very comfortable. And it still, maintains its poofy kind of shape, which is nice. So it's, it's more of a purse, I would, than a tote. It's not a tote. It's a shoulder bag. Oh, I always call it a tote. I can't get that out of my head, but it's not. It's just a Morgan. And so you can see that great flower there. The one thing that I do try to be careful about with this bag because is that I find that this this edge of the trim sometimes gets caught under my arm like that and folded. And I always try to be careful about that because I don't want a crease to really set in there. But other than that, it's great, and I don't, that's not enough to keep me from using the bag. Very, very comfortable, really. And like I was saying, now this is the back, technically, because the pockets aren't, there are no pockets here. But it doesn't make a difference, really. To me, what's more important is how is the zipper oriented? When I pull the zipper, I tend to like that's the one thing. This is the one thing about this bag that I have noticed. Because the strap drop is so short, sometimes it's hard to reach all the way back. That zipper is wide open. It gets a little stuck there almost. And I just have to be careful to pull it. So I just like to make sure that the pull is, the zipper pull is where I can access it. That's more important to me than back or front of the bag. So that's that. Very blue for blue color of the year. Pantone color of the year. So, I guess I could do the measurements. It's a plastic zipper with a ribbon pull tie, which is nice, back when they were using the original pull ties. So, start with a strap drop. And so there's some weight in the bag, so, this is pulling. Try to get that up. I should mention that the base is not removable, and it's soft. But I've washed all my Morgans, including this one, with no problem. And I don't know how many I have now. I might have 5, I'm not sure. Best not to count. Best not to really be confronted. It's 10-inch strap drop when there's weight in the bag like that. And across the top, I guess it's about 11, I'm not sure. Yeah, 11. Oh, I'm good. I'm getting good. I guess that had to happen. You have so many Vera bags, you can start to eyeball stuff. And that's 12, accounting for the curve out, 12. And across, I'm going to guess 14, maybe 15. 15 across with a little stuff in there. Peaches, please stop licking that. Okay, sorry. Oh, and the strap width, I think it's about 1 inch. And these straps are not quilted, but they do have some softness to them. I don't know if there's anything in there. It feels like there might be something in there, not just the 2 pieces of fabric facing each other. There might be something in there, but it's not real thick. It's like 7/8. And what's nice about this particular style is the use of the thick band. There are a handful of vintage styles that make use of the thicker band of coordinating trim, and then there are others that have the thinner bands of coordinating trim. And this is one of those ones with the nice wide band. It's like 2 3/4 inches. So that's nice. And it's got this very nice, look at the detail in that top trim. It's almost stained glass like because of the black background. And it's got almost I think because of this this element behind the certain more circular elements, it gives it sort of a harder, more geometric look, which is a nice contrast to sort of this free form, pattern, explosion of pattern that's going on in the body of the bag. I think it's a nice contrast. It's just, I like all these groupings here, the smaller flowers as well as the larger flowers. In this particular bag, you don't see as many of the green flowers. There are also flowers like this. But I was trying for this, so I didn't care about those. All I could see were those blue flowers. And before I forget, for people who may not be aware, although I think probably most people are aware, there's another pattern, which I refer to a pattern like this as a sister pattern, or it's the same pattern but a different color scheme. And for Rhapsody in Blue, which again was fall 2009, there's Symphony Hue, which was winter 2009. It's the same pattern, just different color scheme. And I always think, whenever I talk about one or the other, I always think it's nice to hold the other one up just for people to be able to compare. They really have quite a different feel. And I became aware of Symphony Hue first and was very taken with it. But I think over time, this is really my preference. I'm a blue person, color-wise. And there's something about Symphony Hue. I mean, they're using color differently. I know, and people know if they've seen a lot of my videos that I talk about the color wheel in some of my videos. And the difference here for me, I think what's making a difference for me is I'm having a reaction to how the colors relate to each other in relation to where they are on the color wheel. So like this pattern is making use of, very obvious to me, use of like a primary and secondary color schemes. So you've got your red, yellow, and blue for your primaries, and then you've got your, in this case, green and purple are the secondary colors that are being used here. I don't see any orange. That would be like the one secondary color that I don't really see in this pattern. And so it's kind of all over the map. It's all over the color wheel. Because if you know anything about a color wheel, you see the primary colors are sort of spaced equidistant from each other, and then the secondary colors fall in between those. And so you're really covering the whole color wheel when you use a color scheme like this. And so it's kind of noisy. Like I feel like I look at this and I'm kind of like, ooh, I think I might be getting a headache. It's loud. And that also has something to do with the value of the colors. Like, there's quite a difference in value between the black background and the yellow, or the black background and the light pink that's used in this particular colorway. And so I think I'm reacting to that as well, because I'm not as aware of the black background here. And I think that has to do with the value too. Like the value of these colors are more similar to the background and to each other. There's more variety here. I think that the color scheme that's being used here is more of an analogous color scheme, meaning that it's using colors that fall next to each other in a section of the color wheel. So like you've got your greens going into blues, going into violets. And that's what you're seeing here. And those colors all fall next to each other on an arc in a section of the color wheel. And analogous colors that do, colors that do that are sort of more in harmony. They are sort of calmer. They produce a calmer effect. And I think that's also what I'm sort of reacting to here and why this is more pleasing to me. Wow, the light just really got dark here. Work with me, Mother Nature. See all these clouds coming in. Anyway, so just so people could see, because it is interesting. It's interesting to see how the same shapes and renderings are treated, with different colors. It's interesting to see that. Again, you get that nice the trim here, very nice. I do like the trim very much in Symphony Hue, the color work in that. Very pretty. So you get the green with the purple up in that trim. It's very, very nice combination. So, I can take out what I have and then I can just talk about the inside. Like I said, I don't think any of the colors on here are particularly matching to the classic blue Pantone color of 2020, except maybe this one. This darker, sort of a mid-value blue. That's sort of approximating what the blue is. I'm able to call it up on my iPad, but I don't know if it will show up well because of the light and everything. But if you Google, you know, Pantone 2020 color of the year, it'll it'll pop up. Let's see. Peaches, oh my God, will you please stop licking that? Please, please. Oh. So maybe a little hard to, yeah, hard to get it to come in. There, that's not bad. It's sort of accurate. But like I say, you can Google it. Classic blue. Now who decides these things? They get together and decide these things. So you can see this is my iPad mini, slips in on its side there, and I have everything just sort of laying stacked on its side. It's everything I would normally take except for my charger cord pouch, which actually is pretty thin, so I probably could have shoved it in here and gotten away with it, but I didn't really need it, so I didn't bother because I knew it was going to be kind of tight. So what I got is my cell phone and a Carson cell phone crossbody. And because I was going with the whole blue theme, I switched out of the cat's meow to the Mickey Whimsical Paisley, latest Disney pattern. And this actually is a good, I feel like this is a good blue. This blue that they're thinking is their classic blue, I feel like is running throughout this pattern. So this is a good example, probably. So I have my cell phone in there. You know, I removed this strap on the, I don't use this as a crossbody. I'm just using it to provide some cushion and protection around my phone in the bag, because even though I have an iPhone 11, it fits in there, it slips in there really well. And even though I have a case on there that I like, and it's got tempered glass, you know, panel to cover the screen, I just feel like I need a little bit more coverage. And it's an excuse to use Vera. That's the real reason. The truth comes out. And I have my usual stuff, you know, my GPS pouch. The stuff that everyone, like I say, is always used to me pulling out of a bag, my iPad mini. All together. Crossbody that I'm using as a wallet. This is Bordeaux Blooms. Everyone, you know, is probably aware of that. I do find that, although I don't usually go for this kind of burgundy color, I do like it with blue. I mean, I think it just, for some reason, and I'm sure there's some color wheel art theory reason why it works with blue, but it seems to work with every blue, light blue. I mean, I find that I really like Bordeaux Blooms with Daisy Dot Paisley. I just think they look great together. So, who knew? And then my photos I've been talking about that I have been carrying around with me since Duke died, just so I can have pictures of him with me. And I explained that in my video about my custom bag, why I started doing that, if anyone's interested. And, oh, this was just something I bought. Oh, impulse purchase, which I might as well share. You know, I did my Foxwood video. The last video was Foxwood, and the one before that, you know, sort of Foxwood oriented. And I thought I was pretty much done. And I'm pretty much 100% sure, although never say never, that I'm done ordering Foxwood, because, like I said, it's just stressful to me because you never know what kind of critter placement you're going to get. And it's like I said, it's stressful. I can't. I don't want to push my luck. I've had some decent luck with that, and I'm not going to push it. I was in Hallmark, my local Hallmark. I was running to the grocery store to get my husband some cereal. And so technically it's his fault. But I went into Hallmark just to see what the markdowns were, because I know they recently reduced Midnight Garden, I think it is. Moonlight Garden? Moonlight Garden. Oh, don't quote me on that, but that pattern, you know what I'm talking about with the flowers on the navy background. Anyway, I thought I had looked through, and I had basically looked through, but I overlooked this. All the small items in my Hallmark, all of them, none of them had any decent animal placement except for this one. And this was, pretty inexpensive, this kind of a thing. It's not an item I use that much. It's the Gen Zip ID. I think that's what this one is. Yeah. But I saw this jackrabbit there, just perfect on the flap. And so I said, oh, okay. I mean, I was looking at some of the sale things, and they were still pretty expensive, what I wanted. So I consoled myself with this. And of course it has that pretty Foxwood Menagerie lining here in purple. That little, I don't know if that's a field mouse or a gerbil. It looks like a gerbil to me. Not too good with the other, could have been critters there, could have been a bird there, would have been nice, but what are you going to do? At least I got the rabbit well placed, so anyway. Okay, so on the inside of this bag, you've got a zipper pocket, again with a ribbon pull tie on one side. Not a huge pocket, not tiny, it's a decent size, but my larger wallet, like the wallet I carried now, and my cell phone, didn't really fit in there comfortably. And on the other wall of the bag, see sort of three small slip pockets. You can sort of see them there. And I did have these, which are the Campus Double IDs. I had two of them slipped into one pocket, so that gives you, and they, wasn't hard to get them in, but I mean, that was all I could fit in there then, in that one particular pocket. So that gives you an idea maybe of what you could, the size of these slip pockets in here, not super big. I mean, these are bags that were, designed before cell phones, before we were all walking around with cell phones. So I've noticed that in a bunch of the vintage bags, that the interior pockets are kind of small. Just not a problem for me, because I don't insist on a lot of interior organizational options. It's not critical for me. I know it is for other people. It's not critical for me. And the lining has these pretty daisies. Very sweet. I always feel like daisies are a very happy flower. And I really do like this lining very much. And oh my God, Peaches, please stop licking. I don't know if you can hear that, but that's an annoying sound. Okay. Here it is on the Symphony Hue. Actually, almost like the Symphony Hue lining better than the exterior. It's a playful, sweet lining, but kind of like pop arty to me a little bit. I don't know why. So while I'm not, huge fan of so much of Symphony Hue anymore, like I wouldn't get anything else in it. And I am thinking about maybe selling one of my pieces. I'm not sure yet. I'll probably keep this because I do like the bag style very much. It's so comfortable. It's really very nice and machine washable. I also wanted to see, just in case people are wondering, I think even the tag says that. Like I said, no problem washing all of them. They all went through fine. I wash in cold on a gentle cycle. I just use my regular all pods and about a half a cup of distilled white vinegar in the fabric softener compartment. Whatever will fill, I just fill that compartment up. And that's sort of supposed to remove residue and brighten things up. Yeah, and no dryer, obviously. No dryer. I let it air dry. Machine wash, cool, gentle, cycle. No bleach, line dry. Made in China. So anyway, just thought I would do that. I was so pleased with this, and I realized that I hadn't done a video on it, and I when I saw that the Pantone Color of the Year came out, I thought this is the opportunity. I'll talk about my blue Rhapsody Morgan. Take a break from all that humongous totes I've been talking about. So anyway, I hope people found that helpful, and hopefully see you next time on Vera Bradley Bag of the Day.